Thank you.
During the 2010s, we were able to see many animated movies gain popularity both among critics and audiences alike. Some of these turned into massive franchises, but what about the movies that, although still garnered praise, weren't the most financially successful or popular? Today, we're going to be looking at 5 different animated movies that I think are hidden gems. They may have received good acclaim upon release, but weren't talked about as much back then, and even now. I want to bring some of these into the limelight. Some of these you probably at least heard of or even seen, but I haven't personally met anyone who has seen all 5 of these movies. I'm going to try to give as much info as possible without spoiling too much of the movie, so that if you decide to watch any of these movies, there's still a lot of enjoyment to be had. I'll also go over my overall opinion on them, so without further ado, let's check these movies out. Mun Gia The Moon is a 3D animated fantasy adventure film directed by Benoit Philippon and Alexander Heboyan. It originally came out in 2014. The movie's premise tells the story of the Guardian of the Moon, who must work with others to recover the stolen sun. Set on a small planet for generations of a guardian of the sun and moon, they protected their world by bringing light from both sun and moon, maintaining the planet's balance. A young Mun is chosen to be the next Guardian of the Moon, much to the surprise of many, considering he wasn't even a Guardian apprentice.
Mun, you are the new Guardian of the Moon. What?
Now he has to prove that he was the right choice to be entrusted with the moon, and to be its guardian. I feel this movie tackles a lot of different kinds of characters and their stories. Of course, there's our main character, Mun, and how he feels unworthy of the position he's been given. He feels reserved.
Look, I really think there's been a mistake. I'm scared of the dark, the stars all look the same to me. I get dawn and dusk mixed up. I'm a terrible singer, so...
And even his sun guardian counterpart, who feels the need to always meet expectations of being strong and a powerful guardian.
Where are you going?
To get rid of that poser. I'm not gonna let him jeopardize my career.
But you can't leave the temple. It's your duty as Guardian.
Among many of the other characters in the movie who I don't want to spoil, but I can say given the limited runtime of the movie, I'd say they do quite well with giving them a good amount of screen time. The animation is very well done. For a mid-2010s 3D animated movie, it feels like it has its own style on top of the typical 3D layer. At times, the backgrounds look like they were painted on, and even have a little bit of 2D mixed in. The animation was done by Mythos Animation, a company based in France, which has helped out in other French projects over the years. Overall, it's a fun adventure movie that hits familiar beats at times, but is done in a way that makes it feel unique compared to other movies. From its story and characters to even its mythical settings, it seems to be purchasable on major platforms and has a DVD release. So if you can find it, give it a watch, and let me know what you think.
This is gonna be good.
NextGen is another 3D animated sci-fi action movie based on the online manhwa 7723. The film was directed by Kevin R. Adams and Joe Sander. It tells the story of Mei Su, a rebellious teen who, after losing a loved one at a young age, feels as lonely as ever in the city with sentient robot technology. Most people ignore her for the latest tech. By chance though, she ends up meeting a top-secret robot named 7723. And they team up together and possibly become friends as they uncover a mystery threat trying to take over the city.
Hello.
What? Hey, oh my god.
What's your name?
Stupid robot.
Hello, stupid robot.
This movie is seen as kind of an oddball, even upon its release. I believe it was one of the first few Netflix original animated movies at the time, with a kind of mix of too much technology is bad, but not all technology is bad. A lot of people compared it to Big Hero 6 for having a white robot companion that the main character has an adventure with, but I think it deviates itself a lot from it, from its setting and most of its story to begin with. Honestly, both go in a different direction, and I think NextGen is a lot darker and more experimental.
Nice catch!
The animation I'd say is pretty good for what it is. The animation was done by Tangent Animation, which also did the animation for Maya and the Three. Unfortunately, it seems they have closed its doors due to apparent self-sabotage in the company, according to ex-employees. It's very unfortunate because I think their style is very nice to look at, and to think the whole movie was all done in Blender of all things. It was actually quite impressive for the time of its release. Between this and Maya, this studio was able to make some good action. It's sad we'll never get to see them improve. All in all, it's a good movie, at least I think so. You might find it a bit overstuffed without room to breathe, and although I agree it can be improved, it's definitely a good attempt at a company's first movie. I feel it's great with the time and effort they put in, so check this one out on Netflix if you have the time. Loving Vincent is a hand-painted biographical film about the life of the painter Vincent van Gogh. The film was directed by Dorota Kobiela and Hugh Welchman, funded by the Polish Film Institute and even partially through a Kickstarter campaign. The film starts a year after the death of Van Gogh. A postman asks his son to deliver Van Gogh's last letter to his brother. During his journey, he finds out more and more information leading to Van Gogh's ultimate death, possibly thinking it wasn't due to a suicide after all.
He tried so hard to fit into his family. But he never succeeded in this.
This movie can be pretty interesting in most parts, wondering about the real story of what could have happened to Van Gogh before he passed away, meeting the different people and wondering what information they have to tell, if any, and if they have anything to do with Van Gogh leading to the events of his demise. Now, some say that the conversations aren't that interesting, and yeah, that's fair. I don't disagree on that front, but I find it interesting enough to want to keep going along with the film. One thing I do need to praise to no end is the animation for this movie. It's just absolutely astounding to look at. The filmmakers chose classically trained painters for a total of 125 painters from over 20 countries out of a possible 5,000 candidates. The film actually uses rotoscoping with the animators painting above it, which is the first of its kind, as far as I'm aware. Shooting an individual frame on a blank canvas, and having other artists paint over each image, which took a total of 6 years to complete, and I wholeheartedly commend to all their efforts. In the end, this movie is a huge theatrical achievement in animation. So if you're a fan of Van Gogh, or just animation in general, I do highly recommend the movie, but just don't expect a phenomenal experience beyond it. That being said, I maintain it's a good film.
Because I am an artist too. That is why they trust me. And Vincent trusted you too. Yes, he did.
Legend of the Guardians: The Owls of Gaul is a 3D animated fantasy adventure film directed by Zack Snyder, based on the Guardians of Gaul book series by Catherine Laxke. The film follows a family of barn owls, specifically one named Soren, who gets kidnapped along with his brother Clud after falling from a tree while practicing gliding. They are taken to a group called the Pure Ones and have to figure a way out. Along the way they get separated and Soren meets other owls that help each other out, while Clud is influenced to serve the leader of the Pure Ones named Metalbeak. Soren and his new friends now need to seek the Guardians for aid and defeat the Pure Ones.
And you're gonna need to fly a long way to get to the Guardians.
The Guardians of Gaul?
I, for some reason, really like this movie, and I don't really know why. On paper, a movie about armored wearing owls shouldn't really work, but to me it just does. I know some people have their gripes about the movie, especially the book readers, going way off from it, but personally I've never read the books, and probably never will. But yeah, as an avid moviegoer, I'm happy with this fun fantasy movie. Now, the animation in this movie, I gotta say, holds up extremely well. For a movie that came out in 2010, the animation on these owls still holds up so well, you've gotta wonder what these animators were on. With the production company of Village Roadshow Pictures and Animal Logic, they just went all out on this movie. From the way the owls behave to tiny little details on them with their feathers to even the different landscapes and how they fly. It's just all done so well. I've got nothing but praise towards them. In conclusion, this movie is a fun ride that had loads of potential that unfortunately did not receive enough attention to get a sequel that it was teasing. But perhaps one day we can get more, or even another movie that does all the things from the book, and I would love to keep it animated. Because honestly, live action is still going to be fully animated anyways. If you like owls or are looking for a new fantasy movie, this is a good one to check out.
What did he say?
We're halfway there! Are you?
Song of the Sea is a 2D animated fantasy film, directed by Tom Moore. Becoming Cartoon Saloon's second film after The Secret of Kells, the movie is based on Irish folklore, which has helped guide a lot of Cartoon Saloon's movies. The film follows a young boy named Ben whose mother passed away when he was young. Before passing though, she gave birth to his now little sister, Saoirse, and he now blames her for the reason that his mom's gone. And of course, they are set on a journey together of self-discovery and mystical elements around Ireland while trying to make it back home. I remember the first time I watched this movie. It was the first Cartoon Saloon movie I watched, and I thought it was amazing, and I still think that to this day. The way the folklore ties into the story of the movie and how all the elements play into the family story. The progression of the character Ben is very well done from beginning to end. You completely understand why he is the way he is, and the bond he ends up creating with his sister, all leading to a very sweet ending. The animation is nothing short of great here. Cartoon Saloon has its own style, and it's really well done here. From the characters to the visuals and the backgrounds, all very simplistic but just so effective at the same time. I cannot see it in any other way, that's for sure. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it right now, and the rest of Cartoon Saloon's catalog. There's not one movie I don't like from them, and I go back and forth on which is my favorite between Song of the Sea or Wolfwalkers, but Song of the Sea is just fun and a deep coming of age story that I think all should watch if you're a fan of animation, bar none. And that was all 5 hidden gem animated movies of the 2010s. I think all these movies deserve the spotlight in some form. We all love those great and popular ones, but there's just something so great about discovering a movie that barely anyone knows about, and you just have to spread the word about it. Have you seen any of these movies before? Did you like any of them? If you haven't seen any of these movies, I once again encourage you to seek them out wherever you can, and give them the support they deserve. If you all like this video, let me know if you'd like to see another 5 hidden gem movies. Until then, keep watching.